So this is a quick description on how to complete the assignment in finding type styles. By now you should have downloaded your fonts that you're going to use, and this is with Illustrator opened up. We will go up to File and New. As you can see with each command, there's also a shortcut key. So you could hit with the Mac, you could hit Command N, and if you're a Windows user, it would be a different. It would probably be Control N or something to that nature. But I'm going to hit the new file, and in this case, I'm going to name it. It's always good to name the files that you're using, but you can call it whatever you want as long as it's similar to the subject. So I'll call it type styles or finding type styles. Um, and then we will be using a 8.5 by 11. So with size, you'll want to go down here. We're going to be using what's called letter, which is 8.5 by 11 inches. It gives it to you in points. If you want to change that increment, you can change it to inches. It really doesn't matter. They're all the same thing. It's just how it reads. But for the purpose of our class, since we do a lot of print work, we'll probably use inches. If you were to do a lot of web work, you'd most likely want to use pixels. And if you were to do a lot of traditional type work, which isn't quite what you guys would be doing at this point, you'd be using points or picas. But for now, we'll use inches. Our orientation in this case is going to be portrait. It's on landscape now. I'm going to change it to portrait, and that will be good. Color mode should be CMYK because that's for print. Raster effects will be high at 300 ppi, and then we'll go ahead and hit OK. So now what I'm going to do is begin to work on the exercise. So right here in Illustrator is the type tool. Again, you can see the shortcut command for it is T. So if I was over here and just simply hit T, it would change to the type tool. If I hit V, it would go back to my black arrow, the selection tool. But I'm going to go ahead and use the type tool to click on the canvas and type in my first word. We'll just say, for instance, the first one that we're working with is joyous. Okay, so I will type that in here. And now I'm going to manipulate it to be what is the correct size that I've asked for in the project. So I'm going to select off it with the selection tool. With it selected, I'll go up to character. In fact, it might be smart to go ahead and click this panel here to bring the panel down. There's also if you hit Command T, it will open it up right in your window, and you can then drag it over here and attach it to your toolbar, which is smart. I'm going to move the layers in. So either way, that will give you the panel that you'll work with character. This one's with paragraph. We'll get to that later in the course. And then this one, of course, is open type that discusses the actual fonts. But we're not going to use much of those for now. So I've now going to go ahead and find my font that I downloaded, or whatever font you downloaded. You can just type in the name if you want. So let's say I use this Snell Roundhand as my joyous. I then have put it in here, and it's still small, and I've asked for it between 36 and 48, so I'll go ahead and type in 36 and plop it in here as my first one. So remember, I wanted 2 columns, so that's column number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to number 2 now, and I'll click again, and I'll do we'll say masculine as my next font. Now, of course, this is not very masculine, but I am going to change that. So now I'm going to click on masculine, go over to my fonts, and I want to use I want to use the Rockwell Extra for the financial if I was to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and use something like impact. Again, you're going to have to find, I hope you find something else. But as you see, what happens with impact is this changes to this 43.2 over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it as, I think I might have resized it without knowing. So I'll go ahead and change it to, it is 36, I'm sorry. So if oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So the type size is 36 in both cases, but we can see that they're not lined up, right? So what I'm going to do then is with Joyous, I want it to be larger. So you can do a couple things. You can select on it and bring it up to 48, and that's pretty good for this one. It matches. And then with Masculine, you might want to bring it. It's at 36 now. So maybe what you do is if you hold down Shift and make it a tad smaller is okay. Um, but what we want to try to do is get them to be optically about the same size. Now this is a larger word, so it's going to be a little bit bigger anyways. But I am holding down Shift. You must hold down Shift. So this is good here. What you don't want to have happen are things like this. That is just no good. And to get away from that, just to check that you've never done that, you could bring down more options and type. Um, so I'll go up to here to this window and the thing goes show options. And both of these two, your width and your height of the type should be 100%. Okay. Now it's too small. So I'll go ahead and hold down Shift and get it to be about the same size. And that's about right there. So this ends up being 43.64, which is okay. If you just want a round number, you can put in something like 42, as long as it's around the same. All right. So now you'll complete this for 10 words per column. So basically you'd have, I'm just going to copy and paste these. This isn't what you would do. You'd do a different word for each column, obviously. So this is 6, 8, 10, right? And then on your other side, you'd have your other words. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And this will basically be your assignment. Keep in mind, in both step 4, or I'm sorry, in step 5, we talked about adjusting lowercase and uppercase. And so if, for instance, if you think masculine looks better with all caps, and maybe you think that joyous would look better being a little more dynamic with a mix of caps, that's kind of up to you. And you can go ahead and make them all large, all small, a mixture if you want. But that's pretty much what you're limited to in this assignment. It's more about finding the fonts that make the emotion or the word apparent through the visual style of the word, and of course adjusting just some things with caps and the size to match, and then adjusting the caps or the lowercase so that it can also fit your idea for what word you've found. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. This is the easy part. First, you'll probably want to save as an Illustrator file. I suggest in each case that you do, when you start, you do a save as, and that you make sure that you start to organize things into this class. So you'll probably want to go to your desktop or somewhere else and make a new folder, and then call it type 120 or whatever the name of the course is. We'll just call this typography, just for general typography class. Create, and then inside typography class, we'll go ahead and make a new folder, and we'll call this assignment 1, finding type styles, or finding styles. And then you can drop the thing into here. So we'll go ahead and save it. And then what we're going to also do is what you're going to turn in as a PDF. The system will only allow a PDF to be turned in. So in Illustrator, it's pretty easy to save a PDF. It's just a save as, and down here in the format, you're going to go ahead and you're going to change that to a PDF. Finding 1 type styles, and I would just say high quality print is fine when you submit it, and your compatibility. For us, we have the newest versions of Acrobat, so you can make it any one of these. Just probably choose the newest one, and then go ahead and save PDF, and we're good. And there it is. Now you can take this file and upload it to the assignment area for a turn-in.